Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hello and welcome to Cheap Shot Entertainment. I am your host Luke and you are the Cheap Shot Nation. And just because I'm wearing an Undisputed Era shirt, it doesn't mean that I'd find it hard for change to happen, but I do really. This is In Your House 2021. It took place on the 13th of June 2021, and of course it is hosted by NXT, and it was at the Capitol Wrestling Center in Florida. So, another great pay-per-view. Maybe it wasn't so good this time. If you want to find out what my thoughts are on In Your House, then please join me for the main part of the video. But in the meantime, while you're watching the intro, make sure you subscribe, like, and leave us a comment to let us know if you watched the show and what you thought of said show. Join me in the main part of the video. So we start off NXT In Your House 2021 with Naomi Fox singing, well, In Your House. Moving on to the first match. It is in fact the winner-take-all six-man brawl. I like that. That's a good rhyme, isn't it? Winner-take-all six-man brawl with the tag team champions MSK rather. And Bronson Reed with the championships, the tag team championships and the North American championship, proving that they don't really have an idea for both of them, or maybe they just couldn't get both of them on the show, which is fine. I'm absolutely fine with this. It is actually the first MSK match that I've actually enjoyed, and maybe that's because Bronson Reed and Legado del Fantasma, I always have to have a look at that because I never know how to actually say it or remember it. Legado del Fantasma were in this one, and it's nice to see that, you know, Legado del Fantasma have moved up a peg. So they were going for the Cruiserweight Championships and the Tag Team Championships. They're now going for the North American Championships and the Tag Team Championship. I really like Escobar. I love him. Well, I don't love him. I think he's really, really good. I think honestly he was above the Cruiserweight Championship. I do like what they're doing with the Cruiserweight Championship now. It's on NXT and it now has a chance to shine. So this is what happened in this match. So the champs are in absolute control, as you could expect, with a man like Bronson Reed in the match, and they MSK complimented Bronson Reed's brutality and sheer mass with their flippy stuff. And at one point there was a elevated senton with MSK holding up. I think it was. I can't even remember his name now. Terrible, isn't it? I should have wrote down the individual names. Holding up Legado del Fantasma and Bronson Reed just squashing him into the mat. And loads of flippy shit with all of, excuse my language, with all of the members of both teams doing their little bit, and then Bronson Reed just taking out the whole building, you know. Like Bronson Reed as well, I think the Escobar-Bronson Reed feud is fantastic. Bronson takes his eye off the match and Raquel Wild takes out his knee, and wicked Michinoku driver from Escobar. I mean, he's picking up Bronson Reed and dropping him on his head, which was absolutely fantastic. And they almost get the pin, but MSK make the save. Bronson sends Escobar through the barrier because he's really annoyed now, and just runs around the ring and just takes him out completely. Bearing in mind this is the first match and they're taking out the set already. And I mean, when I say taking it out, I mean, it was broken. You saw shots of it later on and it was absolutely broken. Mendoza gets a double team and a tsunami from Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed gets the pin and the titles remain with the champions. Great opening match. As ever with NXT, I didn't know what to expect with this one. Every person in this match looked good and they looked credible, and I'm really looking forward to what happens with the championships as we move forward. Like I say, not a big fan of MSK. I know people who are, not me. I actually enjoyed their stuff in this match because it was complemented by Bronson Reed. And as regards to Legado del Fantasma, all three of those guys are absolutely brilliant, even though I've forgotten their names. Raul Mendoza, that's one of them. Joaquin, I think it's Joaquin Wild, isn't it? Or is that someone completely different? But it's Wild and Santos Escobar. Great match, not too much flippy stuff, and did a great job of making all six guys look good. I'm going to give this one 4 cheap shots out of 5. I was really impressed by this match and it was just great. So we move on. Next segment we start with Todd Pettingale, and that ultimately does get 5 out of 5 from me because the nostalgia is there. The nostalgia, oh the nostalgia. Todd Pettingale doing all the 90s jokes. And then we go into the first of 2 women's matches on this card, which is Mercedes Martinez and Xia Li. So these two beat the toffee out of each other. There isn't much in the way of chemistry between these two, but I was still really entertained by this one. Certainly, I hate to say it, but it was the weakest match on the card. And it painted Mercedes Martinez as badass in the end and gave Xia Li a credible win. It's something that she hasn't had since she's been going with Boa and all the other things that she's been doing, the transformation. But it would be from the distraction from Boa. I mean, I'd quite like to see what Boa can do. I mean, he's always outside by the ring. Is he ever going to get a match? I don't know. Distraction by Boa, who pulls out Xia Li. Martinez gets distracted, and then Mercedes Martinez gets distracted by Mei Ling, who is on the stage, the sort of grudge girl gimmick thing. So far in WWE we've got an Annabelle doll and a Sudoku, one of the 3. One's a monster from a Japanese movie and the other one's a number puzzle. Answers in the comments section down below. But I'm going to give this one 3 cheap shots out of 5 as Xia Li does the spinning kick thing, which it looks really cool. Looks like something from like a Power Rangers movie or something, and takes out Martinez. A bit of a bitter end, no pun intended, to this one. And Martinez attacks Xia Li afterwards, and Mei Ling gets the tongue death grip. And that's the end. But yeah, then she sends Martinez into the barricade. So we're going to get a continuation of this story going down the line, which is fine. I am fine with that, and I hope you are too. Let me know your comments down below. We're moving on now to the $1 Million Championship ladder match with L.A. Knight and Cameron Grimes, baby! Because Cameron Grimes is really cool. I've always quite liked Cameron Grimes, and LA Knight is just awesome. Perhaps without the name, but you know, I can deal with that. It kind of works. It's got the LA Knight thing, still does the hand signals and all that kind of stuff, and the music's really cool as well. Reminds me of San Andreas, reminds me of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. But we've got a golden ladder in this one with many symbols on it, and it reminds me of the championship with the diamonds on the steps and everything. That does come into play. And Grimes gets close to climbing up the ladder. After these two have beat the toffee out of each other, multiple ladders in the ring, a ladder duel for example, and you know, it looks like something out of the American Gladiators where they're dueling with the ladders. And it was only ladders that came into play with this one, although Cameron Grimes did at one point jump onto a ladder, then onto the lighting fixture, and then off onto LA Knight, which was quite cool actually. Really like LA Knight, and I really like Cameron Grimes, and so did the crowd. And this one was really, I didn't much like them booing LA Knight because Cameron Grimes, baby, has really sort of adhered himself to them, so to speak. And yeah, Knight blocks his efforts climbing up the ladder after all of the chaos and knocks the ladder over. Knight in control at this point. Cameron Grimes climbs the light fixture, which I've told you about, drops onto LA Knight. Cameron Grimes goes up again. LA Knight tips the ladder up and over. Cameron Grimes goes through another ladder which is on the ramp, and bearing in mind at NXT TakeOver in Your House the ramp is elevated, so the Cameron Grimes drops onto the ladder which has been set up at ringside, and LA Knight goes up and retrieves the briefcase containing the championship. And boy howdy, does this championship look good. Can't help but think it is just a way to shoehorn Ted DiBiase in there, but I love Ted DiBiase and I love that championship. It is very gold and it is very shiny. I'm a bit of a magpie. Anyway, LA Knight is your new $1 Million champion, the first champion since Ted DiBiase Jr. Obviously a good lineage with Virgil and that other bald guy that used to be the ringmaster. I can't remember his name. I'm going to give this one 4.5 cheap shots out of 5. It was damn near perfect. It was absolutely hellacious and possibly one of the best ladder matches I've seen for a while. And yeah, absolutely love this one. Really good. If you go to any match on this card, it would definitely be between this one and the championship match. Absolutely brilliant. Spot on. Move on to the NXT Women's Championship next. It is Raquel Gonzalez defending her championship against the former champion, who wasn't champion for very long. I think she had to relinquish the championship, Ember Moon. Obviously she was a former tag team champion. Both of these ladies were former tag team champions as well over on NXT, the Women's Tag Team Championship. Incidentally, they weren't on the show. Wonder if they were on the pre-show. I don't know. Didn't really get to look at that. But one thing I'm noticing about Raquel Gonzalez matches, I would like her to be more dominant. I mean, she's huge, she's strong, she's good looking, and I think she could absolutely dominate. I mean, they ruined Nia Jax. She was doing the same thing, and you know, just dominating people and not hurting people, just beating them up. And Raquel Gonzalez did that up until the point that she got the championship. I don't know what they're doing with Raquel Gonzalez. I really don't. I really like her. I think she's awesome. But in this match, it was exactly the same. Ember Moon comes in with the game plan. She beats up Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel Gonzalez comes back and hits her finisher out of nowhere. That being said, obviously I like Ember Moon as well. I think she's done a fantastic job since coming back down from the main roster, back onto NXT, being a double champion. Well, yeah, a double champion. One of the first women. Was she I think she was the first woman to hold the NXT Women's Championship and the Tag Team Championship as well. Not at the same time, but I think she was. And I love Shotzi Blackheart, and obviously she's gone on the shelf, although she did turn up in this one. And you know, Ember Moon's had to go out and get some revenge for her. But let's talk about the match, shall we? Again, Moon is absolutely dominant in this one, really showing her pedigree, came in with a game plan, got a, you know, all that kind of stuff. But we also see Dakota Kai a lot as well. There's at least 2 points of interference here where the referee sees it and does nothing about it, destroying any authority that the referee actually has. The Eclipse is hit by Ember Moon, still looks like a wicked move and definitely does it better on NXT than she does in the main roster. And Gonzalez put the foot on the ropes with a little bit of help from Dakota Kai, because that's what Kai is about. That's the second interference. Blackheart comes down, Kai and Blackheart fight up the ramp. At one point I think Dakota Kai did actually get quite hurt because she got chucked into the flower bed outside of the In Your House staging set, which is always awesome because it's an actual stage set with a front door and a garage and everything else. It looks exactly like the stuff that they used to put out back in the 90s, and that nostalgia boost just makes me feel happy. Swinging DDT onto the ramp, but then Moon has to get Gonzalez back in the ring. We get a second Eclipse from Ember Moon, which is thwarted. Bearing in mind that, you know, Gonzalez has been dropped on her head with a DDT, this didn't really make much sense. But she reverses this into a one-handed powerbomb, and Ember Moon has been put away. Raquel Gonzalez retains. I am indifferent with how the result happened. I'm quite happy with the result, being that Gonzalez has retained her championship. But, like I said before, there was Dakota Kai, which is fine. I could look at Dakota Kai all day. And, you know, Gonzalez is strong enough and good enough to get all of those points and do them by herself. You know, she is that good, and she's not being given that chance. So I'm thinking there's going to be a blow-off match here. They've had a tag team championship match in which Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon won and took the titles off the first ever champions in Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. And then you've had the singles match. So I don't know whether this is possibly going to lead to something like a tag team cage match, or some kind of cage match. There's going to be some kind of blow off here, because you know, these four women are definitely not finished. But I just don't know what. I don't know what they've got planned. But I'm going to give this one. It was a solid match for all the things that I didn't like, and as a genuine, well, I like to think of myself as a genuine wrestling sort of journalist, as well as a fan. I thought this match was really good, even though I didn't much like it. And it's a strange one, but I've got to be impartial here, and I think this match is a really, really good, well thought out match. The two women in the match had really good chemistry, and I'm going to give it a 4 cheap shots out of 5. Like I say, there wasn't a real bad match on the whole card. Just wasn't quite sure what they're trying to do with Raquel Gonzalez, and I'd like her to be a little bit more dominant with her championship matches. We move on next. We get another segment with Todd Pettengill, and of course we've already had a segment with Todd Pettengill being Todd Pettengill, and then we had a Todd Pettengill segment where he's trying to replay things that happened between Ember Moon and Giant Gonzalez through a VHS player, because for some reason they think that they've, like Dr. Evil or something like that, Todd Pettingill's been frozen, and yeah, they think they can just keep rolling them out for In Your House. I approve, and in fact I'm going to give this the Big Boss seal of approval, because Todd Pettengill is awesome. And this one's even better because he goes, I'm going to have a game of my favourite toy, Karate Fighters. Anyone remembers the NXT, not the NXT, the In Your Houses of the 90s? They were always sponsored by Karate Fighters right up until like 1997, which was really strange because by that point we'd gone pretty much into the Attitude Era. But yeah, it's a game of Karate Fighters with Dexter Lumis. What's happened to Dexter Lumis? Is he injured? Can we get another match with him? Or, I mean, come on. I mean, I want to know. Quite like Dexter Lumis. I think he's really awesome. But yes, this segment gets an up and a big boss seal of approval. So, we're going to move on to the NXT Championship. It is a 5-way between Adam Cole, Baby, Kyle O'Reilly, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, and Karrion Kross. And he can just do whatever he likes, because I like watching Scarlett come to the ring. She's gorgeous. HBK inspired gear from Johnny Gargano here, and of course Pete Dunne wearing his England football team inspired gear as well, probably to try and sell more t-shirts, because he did have that logo on a t-shirt, which is pretty damn cool. Also, I think he signifies that he's from Birmingham as well, because it had the 2 roses on it. I could be very wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure that Birmingham has a couple of roses on their crest, much like Derbyshire has, and Leeds and stuff like that. But yeah, this match, really blinking good. I mean, really good. Usually with multi-man matches, multi-woman matches, multi-person matches, it's really difficult to keep up. Now, one thing they do to help you keep up is only have 2 people in the ring at the same time. There's a lot of downtime in this match, but it was necessary, and towards the end it worked a lot better, because they were focusing on the champion and who was actually the biggest person in this match, and trying to take him out. Cole and O'Reilly go at it to start with. Dunne with a sneak submission on Karrion Kross, and Kross takes everyone out with a bomb on Pete Dunne. So they're all like doing the sneaky submissions. Pete Dunne gets powerbombed into the rest of the field by Karrion Kross. Cole lures Kross up the ramp, where Gargano and Pete Dunne push him through the front door. Literally, you go smashing through the front door in your house. Not literally in your house, otherwise there'd be a big bill to pay. But, you know, WWE, they're not short of a bit of cash. Maybe they could ask the $1 Million Man. Through the front door, and that takes Karrion Kross out. Of note, Karrion Kross is the one that gets taken out a lot here and has the most downtime, and you kind of knew exactly what was going to happen here towards the end. Kross takes everyone out again with a tornado F5. I'm not even sure how that worked, but he just sort of had him on his shoulder and just went and Gargano just went whee onto the floor. It just makes me laugh, and it fills me with joy that Karrion Kross is just throwing people around. It's great. Couple of unexpected on an unsuspecting Karrion Kross double moves. One onto the table and one leading to a pin. Kross had time to rest, but comes back up and delivers German suplexes to everybody. And Dunne lands on his feet, of course. All team up to take out Karrion Kross, and the era drops Kross onto the table. Like I say, I was up for this. I really was. I enjoyed that. Another exchange of moves, and Cole gets the next near fall. It all leads towards Cole becoming the champion again. But who is going to win? Karrion Kross rises again after being kicked in the head multiple times and dropped over a table. And after a double Gargano escape, bitter end and triangle choke leads to another near fall, or another near submission before he gets broken up. O'Reilly locks in the heel lock submission on Adam Cole. Kross comes in, locks in the Kross jacket, and O'Reilly passes out, and Kross gets the win. So it doesn't matter how much or how many people are in the ring at the same time, Karrion Kross is going to win. Now, I'm sure all 4 of these guys will have a stake to claim, because they'll all say, hold on a minute, It wasn't me that got choked out. I want a singles match. So that's probably what we'll go through next. We'll go Cole, we'll go Gargano, we'll go Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly. As much as I like Kyle O'Reilly, I don't think he is going to be champion whilst Cross is about. Pete Dunne is probably the most credible challenger, and I'm not even sure where they're going to go with Cole from here, but they could do with an injection of Adam Cole, baby, on the main roster, although I'm getting the feeling that not many people want to go up to the main roster at this point. So what am I going to give that match? I'm going to give it 4.5 cheap shots out of 5. It was really good. It was definitely on par with the ladder match, and I always like a good ladder match anyway, but this one absolutely was brilliant. It gets dropped half a cheap shot for the multiple amounts of super kicks that were involved in this one, but this match proves what you can do in NXT with genuine star power. They had so many people that wanted to be in the main event who needed to be on the show that they just shoved them all in one match, and I approve. But we did get a little bit of a downer afterwards. William Regal gets interviewed and he says, after 7 years I've never seen so much chaos and I think it's time for a change. What is going to happen? I won't know until next week, because I'm in the UK and WWE don't put NXT on the network until a week bloody after. So I will get last week's NXT, their NXT before the pay-per-view, after the pay-per-view. Yes, that is a thing. Still paying hashtag $9.99 for that. So genuinely a fantastic pay-per-view, and can't say more than what I've already said. This one was really good. I loved it. It was great from start to finish, and it was just a showcase of everything that's great about NXT. Really enjoyed it. I'd suggest you go and watch it and let us know if you have watched it what you think about the show. Some people loved it, some people didn't like it so much, but I think there's a bit of fanism there. I'm not going to say fanboyism, because it could be ladies as well, you know. But genuinely, I think it's getting a bit daft now. We've got loads of wrestling on TV. Let's all enjoy it. And, you know, you can have your favourites, but don't bring the other one down. You know, just don't do it. You can have your opinions. I have my opinions on both WWE and AEW. And hopefully you're here to hear those opinions on a regular basis. And if you're not, why? Click the subscribe button. Anyway, join us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. And the next pay-per-view shall be Hell in a Cell, as well as King of the Ring from 2001. So we've got plenty coming up. And hopefully, fingers crossed, some actual British wrestling, which is what Cheap Shot Entertainment was built on. And I will see you next time for more Cheap Shot Entertainment. You are the Cheap Shot Nation. I've been your host, Luke. Goodbye!